This is Apple's $599 MacBook Neo, the cheapest laptop that Apple has released in forever, and it is an entryway into basically getting into macOS for those who don't want to spend over $1,000, because your next laptop option is the new MacBook Air at over $1,000. Now, these are prices from Apple. Obviously, you can look around, find used, older M4, M3 models, but that's not what we're doing here. We're looking at what you can get from Apple, and $599 for a starting entry price for a laptop is Apple's cheapest offering. Now, is it any good? Well, that's what we're going to find out over the next few weeks in my full review. But this is kind of my second hands-on impression. I was able to check it out at the event last week, but you're surrounded by a bunch of other people and you don't really get that, intimate one-on-one time. But now, over the last few hours, I have had that time. And I can give you my first impressions again. Call it second impressions. This is the citrus option. There are 3 other colors: indigo, blush, and silver, which honestly is probably the best looking one. I know that's so boring. We want all these other colors, and then we look at the silver option. We're like, that is the best option. I did the same thing with the iPhone, but citrus is probably my next favorite, followed by indigo. I do have an indigo model. It got stuck in the weather, so it did not make it in time. So we picked this one up from Apple. This is the 256 base model. You do not have Touch ID here, so that's a way of knowing. The other one that I have does have Touch ID and 512 gigs of storage. But let's start with the design. So the design is probably one of my favorites. Honestly, I want all MacBooks to be like this. It's kind of like a rounded off, very symmetric and uniformed, lightweight MacBook. I love the color options. I love the look and feel. It's very fun. It's very playful, but you're not getting a lot, which is to be expected for $599. So you get 2 USB-C ports, you get a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, and you have 1 and 2 side firing speakers, 1 on each side. I'm going to do an audio test in just a minute, but these USB-C ports are something that people might want to know a little bit about because they're not what you might think. There is no Thunderbolt. 1 USB-C port here, and I believe it's this one, the first one on the top, is able to extend to an external monitor 4K 60 hertz. But the other one is basically USB 2.0 speeds. So that main one that you're going to use will get you 10 gigabytes per second, but there is no MagSafe, so you also need to charge, and there is no fast charging. So you kind of have to be strategic with how you use this. If you are going to plug it in at all times, you're going to have to figure out which one you want to plug it into, because if you need to use faster data transfer, you're going to want to use that 10 gigabytes per second option, because the other one's going to be very, very slow. The rest of the design is very MacBook-esque. It's familiar until you open it up. And as you'll see here, you have no notch, which people probably would prefer, but the trade-off here is you get these thick bezels, but they are uniformed, very iPad-esque, in my opinion, around the rest of the screen. The screen is 500 nits. It's really, really good liquid retina display. And honestly, if you compare it to the Air, which we just did a video on, it's a little bit less in resolution, but really not much. It's a full 13-inch display. Honestly, I think people will find this to be just fine. I think it looks incredible. Apple does a really good job with displays. And you get that nice color matching wallpaper here. As you can see, depending on which option you get, this comes pre-installed. My other favorite thing is the keyboard. So the keyboard isn't white. In some cases, it's going to look like it, but it's basically a very subtle version of the color that you have. So it's kind of a little bit of citrus baked over the keyboard. I think it looks more white than anything, more like an off-white. They all kind of look like that. And I absolutely love this two-tone design. Now, the keyboard itself, when you type on it, feels just like any other MacBook in the modern era keys. But because of that matte, different color that they put on top of it, it does have a little bit of a different feeling to it, but I really like it. Again, this model here, the base model, does not have Touch ID. You just have a standard lock button, in which case it, in theory, would lock. There we go. Locks the Mac. And that's really it in terms of the differences for the keyboard.
Use the tab key to navigate.
Cool.
And press space to toggle an option.
Started talking here. Now, before we get into the rest of this video, I just want to take a quick minute to tell you more about today's sponsor, Incogni. Scams, identity theft, stalking. They all start with your personal data being exposed online. Your home address, phone number, relatives, even detailed background information can be sitting on people search sites data broker databases, and random directories without you even knowing. Anyone can access it. So that's where Incogni comes in. Incogni automatically tracks down and removes your personal data from hundreds of data brokers and people's search sites. And because your data can reappear over time, they send repeated removal requests so it stays gone. It's completely hands-off. You create your account, give one-time authorization, and they handle the outreach and follow-ups for you. And if you really want full coverage, their unlimited plan includes custom removals. So if you Google yourself and find your info is exposed on a site that isn't part of their automated network, you can copy that link into your Incogni dashboard and submit it. Their dedicated privacy experts will review it and work to get your personal information removed. This covers almost anything online except government sites, criminal conviction publications, social media, blogs, and forums. They can't harm you if they can't find you. Take back control of your personal data with Incogni. Use our code at the link in the description down below and get 60% off annual Incogni plans. Thanks, Incogni, for sponsoring this video. The only other thing that you might need to know about is the trackpad. Now, it's not as big as some of the others out there. This is a smaller body, so totally fine and understandable. But you don't have a haptic trackpad or force touch, which Apple used to call back in the day. This is a physical clicking thing, but you can click anywhere. So there's really no difference, really, except for the fact that you're going to feel it clicking down. And then when your laptop is off, you'll still feel it click, unlike some of the other ones where when the laptop's off, because it relies on haptic feedback, when it's on, you just kind of have a glass trackpad and it doesn't do anything. So that's really it. I don't really have any issues over the last few hours that I've been playing around with this. I think it's fine. So that's just something that I wanted to point out when it comes to the design. One of the biggest questions I had when checking out the MacBook Neo in person was the dual firing side speakers here. So there's one speaker on each side. I do want to give Apple the benefit of the doubt because as a company, it's very good at audio products, especially in situations where you see these tiny little speaker grills and you're wondering how good could they possibly be, but I still have reservations. So I thought I would throw on some music here. Got Apple Music launched up. You can see my firsthand experience of, what these speakers sound like. Hopefully you don't hear the song. The microphone's really good at kind of blocking a lot of that out. And also I don't want to get hit with the copyright strike, but you can see my reactions in real time. This is the first time I'm experiencing audio with the MacBook Neo. Honestly, it's really not bad. So there was a very rich and robust sound for these tiny speakers. I will say it does not get super loud. I had it all the way up, and that's probably a good volume that I would keep it at if I was alone. Obviously, in public, you don't want to keep your speakers super loud, but max volume is my normal volume for me. So that's not great. It's not super loud. Basically, the biggest takeaway there. Let's throw on a quick video because that's really the only other thing I do.
Hotel pens. When you add one, it kind of feels like you're... And I wanted to give you my thoughts.
So here's a MacRumors video. Just wanted to see what it sounds like when watching YouTube.
No joke, the phone that I...
Honestly, again, it sounds perfectly fine. I have it on full blast. That actually might have been a little bit louder than I was anticipating compared to the music, which is strange. But the audio from a video seems to kind of push through a little bit more than what I'm getting when listening to a song. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be more than acceptable for most people. It is kind of impressive. Apple says that you can get spatial audio from this, and I kind of see what they mean. I mean, you can kind of get a sense of what that spatial audio is like when different instruments are going from each side, and depending on how the song is mixed or whatever content you might be watching, whether it be on Apple TV Plus or Netflix or whatever. I think you're going to be more than happy with this. If you're a student laying in bed, watching some TV at night after you just got done typing up a paper or whatever, this is going to be just fine. And if you need more audio, again, I think Apple is just banking on you're throwing in some AirPods or whatever headphones you might have. Or you can connect it to other speakers via Bluetooth if you need to. But pretty impressed. Again, my biggest gripe is that it just doesn't get super loud, but I think this is probably good for most people. Okay, so this is the MacBook Neo's camera and microphone test. So I imagine the people that would be buying this type of machine would probably be doing a lot of video calls, FaceTime calls. So you want it to look and sound good. It is very loud. As you can see, this is like an entire metal enclosure of a building that I'm in. And when the wind blows, we have a bad storm going on right now. When the wind blows and the rain hits, it is super loud. So would love to know how the speakers sound to you. Let me know down in those comments. Are you hearing a lot of the rain and wind noise that I'm hearing right now? How do I look? Personally, just kind of looking at it right now, I think it looks okay. It's definitely not as good as some of the other higher end MacBooks that have the 12 megapixel camera that's a little bit updated, and it has center stage, which this does not. This also does not have desk view. It's just a pretty straightforward 1080p camera. But again, for those that are probably buying this, this is probably good enough. But I would love to hear from you again in those comments down below. Now, because I've only had this machine for a very short amount of time, you're going to want to subscribe and stay tuned for my full review. But the only other thing that we should really test out is, I guess, some performance. I mean, I can't really do a full performance or battery test right now, but I kind of want to see what it would be like to open up all of the applications at once. There is only 8 gigs of RAM across the board. From a configuration standpoint, again, it's 256 or 512 for storage, and that's it. You cannot customize anything else. This is running off an A18 Pro chip, so it is technically an iPhone chip, but we can expect single core speeds to be roughly that of an M1 MacBook Air, which is still usable in today's age. But the biggest thing with 8 gigs of RAM and why people are freaking out is because, you know, Apple has updated all of the other machines to be a base of 16. It wasn't good enough in 2026, which I do agree, but because this machine is so well optimized with macOS and because of who it's targeted for, I don't think it's really going to matter. But we'll find out. Applications having a lot open at one time eats up RAM. Let's open all of them up and see what that's like, and then try to use the laptop and see if there are any issues when doing so. Okay, so there are roughly 54 applications here. Let's see how long it takes to open here. As you can see, they are all just kind of popping up. I actually don't know how to tell if they're all open, to be honest with you, because I'm not going to count them all out, but I'll check back in a few seconds and see if it's done. All right, they're still going, but let's just take a look here. As you can see, there's a ton of applications open. Do a command tab. There's a whole bunch. Let's just switch to a random one. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these have not been opened yet, so they really need to go through like the first prompt, but I mean, things are moving fast. I can open up the expose, and as you can see, there are tons of applications here. Final Cut Pro was downloading. I think it's still downloading, so that one's not going to open up. We have the Home app. We have games that's bouncing up and down, and these just need prompts. There's nothing wrong with them. They just need me to answer the initial prompts for when they open, but pretty impressed with how fast this is moving, especially since we just recently set this laptop up. And as you can see, they're still just chugging along on all the applications, but there's no need for you to ever open up 54 applications at one time. But if you're one of those people that have a bunch opened up and you want to still get some work done, it looks like you can still do that. Of course, this isn't a definitive test. I will be sure to do some performance testing, real world testing. I'm going to do a lot of my normal job. I'm going to even edit videos on here and see what I can get away with and make this my main laptop for the foreseeable future while I'm in this review process. If there's anything you want to know, please let me know in the comments down below. So that's the MacBook Neo. This is kind of my quick second overall impressions of the device. I'm honestly incredibly impressed. Again, I'm going to have a full review of everything and what it's like to be using this as my main laptop of choice for the foreseeable future. And if you have any questions or if there's anything you want me to see, any benchmarks or, let me know some applications that you might be thinking of running on this, and I will give it a shot and see how well this machine can handle it. But so far, super impressed with what this thing can do for $599, $499 if you're a student. This is insane, and I highly recommend you pick it up if you want a Mac and if you want to escape the doldrums of Windows, because maybe your $300 Windows PC can't quite do what this Mac can do. Let me know in the comments what you think, and of course, be subscribed so you don't miss more videos of us in the future. This has been Dan with MacRumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you around in the next video.